Okay, in this movie, we're going to go over the different ways that the movable elements are presented in the game scenario. So, doing the games. So, first, for doing the games, the emphasis is on learning techniques for doing the questions correctly. And most of the time is going to be spent on questions and very little on making deductions. You really only need to make a working diagram that makes sense for you. So what this means in practice is that you won't have to worry too much about the information in the scenario and the rules. The following lessons will teach you procedures to apply to each of the different kinds of question types, and you'll just need to be able to quickly and efficiently make test diagrams. You won't be making deductions, so you don't have to learn and memorize tons of different game types. Okay, let's take a look at our game, and it says that runners A, B, C, D, and E win first to fifth place in a race, not necessarily in that order. So, runners A, B, C, D, and E, these are the movable elements. That's what we're dealing with in this movie. And in virtually every game, they're listed first. They're almost always given individual names. Sometimes it might just say a number of individuals. So here the movable elements are presented in their simplest and most basic variation. Just a group of movable elements. Here's another game. 2 men and 3 women finish first to fifth place in a race. So 2 men and 3 women, those are our movable elements. And these movable elements could be divided into different groups. In this case, we'll have 2 men and 3 women. This is how we would symbolize it, MMWWW. So the set of movable elements, the runners, are divided into 2 groups, men and women. And when you isolate it, it helps to symbolize it like we have it here. So let's take a look at this game. It says that runners A, B, C, D, and E get first to fifth place. A and D are women, and B, C, and D are men. B and D are blonde, and A, C, and D are redheaded. So A and D women, B, C, and D are men. Those are our additional characteristics for the movable elements. And that means that an individual element could be part of a couple of different groups. So here we have a graph where we have lines for men and women, and we have B, C, and D are under M for men, and we have E and A are under women. But we also have lines for black and redhead, and B and E are for black, and C, D, and A are for redhead. So here a particular runner is part of both a hair color group and a gender group. And you'll sometimes encounter this variation, but not very often, and symbolizing like this helps. So you'll know right away that B, for example, is a man who has black hair, and E is a woman who has black hair, for example. So in this game, runners A, B, C, D, and E finish first to fifth place in a race, not necessarily in that order. Each of the runners is wearing either red or blue sneakers. So either red or blue sneakers is additional information. And what it means is that movable elements could have certain characteristics. So here you have to keep in mind that each movable element is also going to have an additional piece of information attached to it, the color of the sneakers. So, it's relevant to pay attention to how the set of movable elements is presented, because knowing whether or not you're dealing with movable elements that are grouped together or have characteristics, etc., the other stuff we went over, will make it easier to make a diagram. So to recap, once you found movable elements, see how many there are, if they're in groups, and if they have any characteristics.